Hey crafty friends, it's Lisa, your DIY diva. Are you busy getting ready for the holiday season? Well, if you're looking to add a few new decor pieces to your decorating, I've got you covered. In today's video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to take things that you get at the Dollar Tree and turn them into really high-end decor pieces that you can use in your decorating this year. So let's get started. Now around Halloween this year, Dollar Tree had these really pretty signs and they are beautiful, but I really love that oval shape and I thought these would be perfect for a Christmas craft. So I went ahead and removed all of the larger pieces, so the skull, that came off, and I'm going to turn these into Christmas wall decorations. So I've got this really pretty fabric that I found at Walmart. And it was a little bit wrinkly, so I used my mini heat press to iron out any of those larger wrinkles. The heat press is actually a really great iron for small projects like this. That way you don't have to break out the big iron. And once the wrinkles were ironed out, I flipped over the sign and then I cut away the excess fabric. I find that by having not so much fabric around the edges, it makes it a much smoother process for securing the fabric to the sign. So I'm just going to cut away all of the excess fabric. And I'm going to use my hot glue gun to secure the fabric to the sign. And because I removed the raised pieces on the front, I can actually use the front of the sign. This way you get a cleaner back for your sign. And because I had a little bit extra fabric, I did decide to go ahead and cover it with the extra fabric. I think that'll make this sign even better. Now, once I was done with the fabric, then I took this yard sign that I got from Dollar Tree, and I thought this would look really nice on my sign. So I removed the stake, which I will probably keep for an upcoming project. Then I took a few tumbling tower blocks and secured those to the back of the Santa because I want to raise it off of the sign a little bit. What a thrill with each ornament our hearts fill. Then I put a little bit more hot glue on each of the blocks, and then I attached the Santa to my sign. That is so cute, and it was so simple to do. And I also had some of that fabric in green, and I had another one of the yard stakes. This time it was a snowman. And on this sign, the stake didn't come off as easily, so I did have to pry off the top portion of that yard stake. And for whatever reason, it was secured so well to the snowman that I actually had to use a knife to help remove it. And then I did the same thing that I did with the Santa. I attached a couple of the tumbling tower blocks to the snowman. Then I put a little bit more hot glue on it. And then I secured the snowman to the other sign. And I wanted to show you how easy it is to add a hanger to a sign like this. I just took a piece of jute twine and secured it to the back of the sign. but I really want to make sure that the hanger is secure. So I'm going to come back with a little bit of fabric, and these are just scraps of fabric that I had cut off from that first sign. And I'm going to use a little bit more hot glue, and I'm going to put fabric pieces over the ends of the twine. Adding in that little bit of extra hot glue really seems to help keep the hanger in place. Now for this project, I'm going to use 3 different pans that I got from Dollar Tree. So I have a pizza pan, I have a pie plate, and then I also have a round cake pan. And I'm not sure if you've seen how easy it is to make a tiered tray with these 3 things from Dollar Tree, but I wanted to show you because it's so easy and it can make a really nice addition to how you display smaller pieces. And I'm also going to be using these Dollar Tree glass candlesticks. Now, I had 3 of them. I don't need 3 of them. I only need 2, but I'm going to spray paint them with red spray paint. And then once they're dry, I'm going to attach them to these 3 different pieces that I have from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to put some E6000 around the bottom of one of the candlesticks, and then I'm going to use some hot glue for the instant stick. Then I'm going to secure the candlestick to the middle of the pizza pan. Then I'm going to come back with a little more E6000 and some hot glue on the top portion of the candlestick. And then I'm going to put the pie tin on top of that. Then I'm going to take the second candlestick and do the same process that I did with the first one with a little bit of E6000 around the edge as well as some hot glue. And then I'm going to secure that to the center of the pie tin. Then I'm going to come back with a little more E6000 and hot glue, and you guessed it, now I'm going to secure the cake pan to the top. So here's my tiered tray. This is so cute and it was so easy to make. I was able to make this for less than $8, and now I have a tiered tray that I can display different Christmas decorations on. And a lot of these ornaments actually came from Dollar Tree. They had different sets of ornaments, and I like these because they looked a little more vintage and I really like the bright colors. But I just wanted to show you how you can use a tiered tray without getting really fancy, but still have it be a really nice addition to your Christmas decorations. I love the look of these ornaments, but the best part is they are plastic. So if they were to fall, they're not going to shatter, which I think is a really nice touch. Now last summer, Dollar Tree had these really pretty trays. I knew there would be something that I could use this for, so I did buy a couple of them, and they were $1.25, so I thought that was definitely a fair price for what I was getting. So first I spray painted the entire tray black. Now I'm going to come back with some antique gold rub and buff, and I'm going to rub that all over this tray. I want to create a centerpiece with this, and I'm trying to get it to look like, you know, the popular Ralph Lauren trend that everybody seems to be talking about, which to me just seems like traditional Christmas. But hey, I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm going to show you how you can make a Ralph Lauren style centerpiece with Dollar Tree supplies. And by first painting the tray black and then adding the rub and buff to the top of it, it works really well because you get a little bit of that black to show through, which gives it more of an aged look, which I think looks really nice. And this also tends to give it a higher end look. If you don't have rub and buff, you can use gold spray paint or whatever color you want your centerpiece to be. But for this project, I found that it works really well, and you can actually find rub and buff a little more affordably than spray paint anymore. And I think the overall look is just a little more high end. So once I had the rub and buff on the bottom of the tray, I flipped it over, and I'm going to put that all over the top of the tray as well. And a little bit of rub and buff goes a long way. So even though it looks like I have a lot that's put into this little container, I can actually use this for multiple projects, not just this one. Now, once my tray had time to dry, I had 3 different candlesticks. 2 of them came from Dollar Tree and one I found at Goodwill. And even though all 3 of the candlesticks don't match, I kind of like having something a little bit different. So the 2 candlesticks that are similar, I put on the ends, and the thrifted candlestick, I put that in the center. And I just secured each of them with some hot glue. Now, the hot glue will not give a permanent bond, so if I do want to break this down and do something different with it in the future, I can. But if you want it to have a permanent bond, then I would use E6000 or B7000. So there's my centerpiece so far. Pretty easy, right? And the Norfolk pine seems to be super popular this year. So I did have a few of the Norfolk pine pieces that I got on Amazon. I haven't been able to find those yet at Dollar Tree. And I just secured a few of those to the bottom of the tray in between the candlesticks as well. But I did want to add a little bit of different pine pieces. So of course I like to save all of my extra pine pieces or floral pieces. So I just went through my stash and found some different pieces of pine. Some have like a flocking to them, and some are just different species of pine. And I took those individual pieces or individual stems, and using my glue gun, I just secured them randomly around each of the candlesticks. I did try to keep it uniform around each candlestick so it does look similar. And I did add a couple of red berries because I thought that looked really pretty and very festive. Now, if you've ever used these Dollar Tree candlesticks before, you know the candles, they just move all around. But on a recent outing to Dollar Tree, I found this candle stabilizing wax. I was so shocked that I was able to find this. It's not very much, but for a project like this, you don't need very much. So you just take a little bit of this wax and you put it into each of the candle cups, and then you can put your candles down into it, and the candles will stay standing up. Now, if you can't find this at your local Dollar Tree, there is another product, and I will leave a link in the description box. I believe it's called museum wax, but it works the same way. But if you can find the smaller one at Dollar Tree, I would highly recommend that you pick some up because it is so useful. Now, even though you can't see my gold tray very much because I have so much pine underneath it, I do think this looks really pretty. I think it does have a nice high-end look, and I don't know. What do you think? Does it look like Ralph Lauren? I know it doesn't have a Ralph Lauren price tag, but I think it looks pretty nice. Now, every year I have wanted to have mistletoe, or like a mistletoe thing that I can have hanging above my door, because if there's mistletoe, then you're supposed to kiss, right? Well, I couldn't find mistletoe or the like stems at Dollar Tree, but I did find these on Amazon. I was a little bit bummed because the first piece, I thought it was going to look a lot better than this, but it didn't. And while you could just stick the other mistletoe on top of the original piece, I thought about that for about 2 seconds. It does look a lot better and more intentional if you just cut the individual pieces of the mistletoe off, and then you can use a little bit of hot glue to secure those individual stems randomly throughout the original piece. So it looks more deliberate, like it was supposed to be like that in the first place. And again, I think it gives it a much higher end look. But don't feel like you have to stop. If you want to add a little bit more, like I decided I was going to add some smaller pine cones to really bring all of these pieces together. And because I like to be extra, I did take a few pine stems and hot glue those to the top. And I also took some raffia that I bundled up using some hot glue. And I secured those to the back of my mistletoe so that it looks like it's flowing out from either side. And then I did take some of those white mistletoe balls and I hot glued them just to fill in any empty spaces. I did think about adding a bow, but in the end, I decided this was the look that I really wanted. And I had this door that I got from Hobby Lobby. It was on clearance, I think, over the summer. And I thought this would look so pretty on it. So I attached a hanger, which made it really easy for me to attach the mistletoe right down the center. Now, even though this isn't something that I can hang up on its own like I had originally intended, I really do like how this turned out, and I definitely feel this is a high-end look for my Christmas decorations. If you've ever shopped on Temu, I don't know if you've ever found something like this. Now, I was hoping to get these beautiful peppermint greenery floral arrangements, but when they came, this is what I got. And they don't look anything like what the original picture was. So I thought, I'm just gonna take these apart and I'm going to use these separate pieces in other upcoming projects. But I really wanted to show you this because if you're going to be buying floral things that are all put together, that it's supposed to be an arrangement from Temu, I would probably advise you not to do that, or don't get your hopes up, because if you're going to spend $10 on something, this is probably what you're going to get. To me, it wasn't worth sending back, so hopefully I'll be able to use all of these individual pieces on an upcoming project. But what I did decide to do was take some of those random pieces and then I had these peppermint pieces that I had from Walmart, and I glued them all together. And then I used a little bit of the faux pine that I tucked in between all of the peppermint. I thought it would look nice to have a peppermint type of floral arrangement, and these fake peppermint candies from Walmart are perfect. And then I can add in some of those extra pieces from my Temu disaster and have something cute, fun, and festive to decorate with. And to keep everything together, I just used some hot glue and glued this into a wooden candlestick. I think that actually came from Hobby Lobby. But I do like to repurpose things, so I'm sure I'll find some other use for this candlestick in the future. But for right now, it works really well so that I can put my peppermint pine display into a vase and then use a little bit of Dollar Tree faux fur around the base of it so I can have something fun and festive for my holiday display. Now, every Christmas, I go to Dollar Tree trying to find these candles. These are so high-end looking, just like they are. And usually I'm not able to find them, but this year I was. But this one had a black base and I didn't like that. So I just took some rub and buff and used that on the base of this candlestick. Because that base was already black, I didn't have to paint anything. I could just add the rub and buff right on top. And I wanted to make this look like an old-fashioned candle holder, so I found this at Goodwill and I thought this would be perfect. But again, I wanted it to match my candlestick, so I took a little bit more rub and buff and I used a foam brush to paint that onto this metal tray. And what's really cool about finding pieces like this is I can actually use this in my decorating, not just for Christmas time, but this would be a really nice trinket tray to add to a bedroom, like a dresser or something like that too. It's always fun to find different pieces at thrift stores because there's so many different ways that you can use them in your decorating throughout the year. But I did go ahead and paint the bottom as well as the top and the sides of this tray with the antique gold rub and buff. But let me show you how pretty these candlesticks are. They are just, look at it, it's so pretty. And what's really nice is they actually have a timer on them too, and they'll stay lit for 6 hours at a time, which is great. And to make this look more like Christmas time, I came back with some pine pieces and just put those around the base of the candlestick. And again, the candlestick has a timer on it, so it will automatically shut off after 6 hours. So then I don't have to worry about rearranging the pine pieces every single day that I turn on the candlestick. Now I was also lucky enough to find some of the candlesticks in the gold base. I love this. I think they look so pretty, and they definitely look like they cost more than $1.25. To me, the best part is it only takes 2 AAA batteries that you put into place. And look at that. Now I have a beautiful candlestick that I can use in so many different areas of my home for decorating. I do have a couple in each of my windows that are facing out front. But I also put a couple of them on some shelves in my dining room. And again, the timer is so nice because I don't have to run around my house and turn on all the candlesticks. These are probably one of the best things I have seen at Christmas time from Dollar Tree. Now, every year around this time, I can find these garden dishes at Dollar Tree, and these are fantastic to make over and give more of a high-end look. So I took one of the garden dishes, removed all of the tags, and then I took a lid from one of the larger round containers from Dollar Tree, and all I had to do was secure that lid to the bottom of the garden tray. And I am going to be using the antique gold rub and buff. So first I'm going to use some black acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint the bottom as well as the inside of the garden dish with the black paint. Again, you can just spray paint this, but if you want your project to have a higher end look, just do the extra step of painting everything black first before you apply the rub and buff. I actually saw something very similar to this on Pottery Barn, and it was so expensive.
Lights are twinkling bright, crafting ornaments with my family's delight, painting snowflakes, gluing every bit. Festive music plays as we start the night. Oh, crafting for Christmas, what a thrill! With each ornament our hearts fill, spending time together, sharing a smile.
But for less than $5, I was able to get a very similar look. And again, there's a lot of different ways that I can use this in my decorating. By taking just a little bit more time and doing the extra steps, that's what's going to help you achieve a much higher end look on any of your projects that you create using things from Dollar Tree. And I can't believe it, but we've already reached the end of the video. Well, I hope that you loved crafting with me today as much as I love sharing these projects with you. And here's the thing I really want you to remember. Every project that you create, it isn't just about saving money. It's also about proving to yourself that you can create some really high-end looking pieces that you can add to your decor. You can totally get a pottery barn or a high-end look, one DIY at a time. And if these Christmas crafts inspired you, be sure to hit that subscribe button because I post new, budget-friendly projects each and every week, and I don't want you to miss out on any of the projects. Remember, crafting isn't about how much money you spend. It's about the love and creativity that you put into each and every project that you create. Until next time, stay crafty and keep creating.
Through the